talking to Attorney General Eric Schmitt of Missouri. General Schmitt is also running for the United States Senate. Welcome, General. Good to have you on.
It's great to be with you, Hugh.
I'm alarmed. Kansas City Mayor Hugh is a pretty formidable candidate on the air.
Well, we intend to keep this seat in safe Republican hands. That's my view. And I think as you look around the country right now, it feels as though our culture and country is sort of slipping away. And so my belief is that we need some fighters in Washington, D.C. That's been my record as Attorney General, fighting alongside President Trump and the agenda that brought unprecedented growth, energy independence, and a secure border. And then on the front lines right now, taking a blowtorch to this Biden agenda that's really radical, and they're only about 75 days in, undermining a lot of that progress that was made. And so we need reinforcements, and I really believe it's the time to save America. So, look, in a more philosophical sense, Hugh, I love this republic. I love this country. I believe in American exceptionalism. I think the founders got it right when they said everybody else had it wrong before, that our rights come from God and government's just our shared project to protect those rights. And we need people willing to stand up for that. And so that's why I'm running for the Senate.
Now, Eric Schmitt, General, I don't get involved in primaries and endorsing, but I do keep a wary eye. I've had Eric Greitens on the show. I don't think he's coming back. He didn't like my questions. I think he will lose that seat. I don't know if Jason Smith or you could lose that seat, but I think Eric Greitens can lose that seat. Do you agree with me?
Well, here's what I know. These races are a lot closer than people think in a state like Missouri. So Donald Trump won Missouri by 20 points in 16 and about 15 or 16 points this past year. I won, for example, by 22 points this last November. These Senate races are much closer than that. In that same sort of time period, Roy Blunt won by 3 points and Josh Hawley won by 6 points because there's obviously a national focus. So we definitely need somebody who can hold this seat. And so I feel like I'm the best person to do that.
And now tell me, how are you going to differentiate yourself from the other candidate? Eric Greitens is running as a wronged incumbent who was hounded out of office, and people can make up their minds about that. Jason Smith is running as President Trump's favorite guy. What is Eric Schmitt running as?
Well, look, I think talk is cheap, right? You look at somebody's record. And so we're really leading the country right now. Missouri has taken the lead, as I mentioned earlier, in taking on this really radical agenda. So, for example, in the first day of office, Joe Biden issues this executive order that deals with the Keystone XL pipeline. We're involved in that lawsuit to challenge that. He also created a working group, as he called it, with unelected cabinet members to decide what is the quote-unquote social cost of greenhouse gases. And so it's more like Nostradamus than it is Newton, right? They're predicting warfare and migration patterns and all these things hundreds of years in the future, pulling all of that back and then giving a blank check to the EPA and transportation, all these agencies, to overtax and overregulate every aspect of our lives, making things more expensive, like cars and microwaves. We're on the front lines fighting that. So if you look and see what the AGs are doing across the country to really push back, Missouri's in the lead on that. So if you look at the record, a lifelong conservative who's never going to quit on this state, that's Eric Schmitt.
No, I've sat down with David Yost, and we've talked about a number of the things he's brought to defend religious liberty. I know you're doing the same thing. What about big tech? Your predecessor, Josh Hawley, was going after big tech. He's continuing to do that in the Senate of the United States. I hope you've continued the investigation into Google.
Absolutely. So we're actually one of the states that were part of the William Barr Justice Department's antitrust suit. There were a handful of us that joined that antitrust suit against Google. We led the investigation into Facebook. Have also filed a lawsuit against Facebook for their anti-competitive behavior. I think this is it's not emerging. It's here. It's right in front of us. I mean, you saw last night Google/YouTube TV cancels, deletes this roundtable Governor DeSantis was having on how lockdowns don't work. And so they've taken an oversized part of our lives. They're restricting the amount of acceptable speech, narrowing that bandwidth of acceptable speech. And we've been very, very aggressive. So, yeah, that's part and parcel of what we're doing in our office. I was the first attorney general in the country to bring a lawsuit against communist China for their role in the coronavirus. It's unmistakable what their role was in hiding this. I mean, they knew about human-to-human transmission as early as November, early December, didn't tell the world until January 21st, and we're all still dealing with it. So, I'm somebody that's not afraid of that fight. And I believe in the law, and I believe in the Constitution, and I think that's, again, we need those kinds of folks standing up strong in the United States Senate.
Now, I don't want to geek out too much in our last minute, Attorney General Schmitt, and I hope you keep coming back. But Clarence Thomas dropped a bombshell whimsically, sort of, this week, saying maybe the market power of these big tech companies are so large that they fall under government action. What do you think about that?
So it's interesting. And actually, by the way, as a fun fact to you, not to geek out on you, Clarence Thomas got his start in the Missouri Attorney General's office under Jack Danforth in the 70s. And so we're very
I did
proud
know
of
that. I did know that. Yep.
So, well, and Jim Talent, I'm sure, was sort of a mentor to me over the years. I'm sure it's probably told a lot of people that too. But no, it's he brought up what's a very interesting legal theory that's been bandied about in legal circles, which is the common carrier, right? You sort of can liken it to the railroads and the trusts. So people can say, like, for example, when they say when Twitter, got rid of the president on their platform, we'll go get another platform. Well, you saw what happened. Parler then tries to start another platform, and they're banished. So
it is ripe for you to keep on the crusade, keep coming back and telling us about it. Attorney General Eric Schmitt and America, come back.